What's up, Tackle Warehouse fans? Jake and Walker at the ICAST Show. We're actually in the Best of Show booth.
Absolutely.
And we're doing something a little bit different today for what's new at Tackle Warehouse. Now, technically, this is all new stuff.
For sure.
But, we wanted to give a rundown of our favorite picks of ICAST. So, staff picks, Jake and Walker's picks, the coolest stuff that we saw at ICAST 2024 this year. And we got a few categories of stuff. And I want to talk about my favorite rod of the show. This is going to be the Tatula XT BFS, or Bait Finesse rod. Man, this thing is super cool, and I haven't fully jumped into bait finesse fishing, but this one has got me super intrigued. Now, the action on it is right on, so it's super, super light. It's got that really light tip, which you want for bait finesse fishing, and it matches up perfectly with that new Tatula Bait Finesse reel, and it just comes in at a phenomenal price point. I mean, a lot of the bait finesse gear is pretty high end, but I'm excited to try this one out and try some bait finesse fishing and not be out like $1,000 for a combo.
Absolutely.
And then what's your pick for rods?
It's going to be the new and improved revised Shimano Poison Adrena. Man, I've been a fan of the Poison Adrena series for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just an absolute overperformer as far as rods goes. They've always been super light, super sensitive, and I've just really enjoyed them. But this new one, man, it's got a kind of a little bit new cosmetic look. It's got a full monocoque handle. It's actually got a hollow handle that adds to the increased sensitivity throughout the rod. I mean, you can even feel a fish breathe on this thing, is what they were telling me over at Shimano.
Dude, we had to go borrow this thing from the Shimano guys. They were gracious enough. They're like, hey, can we borrow this for like an hour? We swear we'll bring it right back. And carrying around the show, just grabbing, I was like, it doesn't feel like I got anything in my hand.
It's so
crazy lightweight. So, I mean, a super cool series of rod there from Shimano. And now we're going to talk about, let's go over some baits here. So we're going to talk about, all right, what's your favorite soft bait of the show?
Favorite soft bait, I'm a big Nico guy myself. It's just a technique that I think puts the kicker fish in the boat, allows you to really just catch a lot of fish and a lot of big fish at that. And Big Bite Baits has really kind of impressed me this year when they came out with the Nico Rama worm. I was talking to Drew Gill a little bit yesterday, Big Bite Baits sponsored pro, and he was telling me that this worm was designed specifically for Nico rig fishing. It's actually got two, I don't know if you can see it with the camera, you can pick it up there. It's got two kind of indents right there in the worm for the Nico band to go around. The head is perfectly shaped for a Nico weight, and then just the bulbous tail kind of leads to a quivering action there. I'm super excited to fish it. It comes in a bunch of different colors. It's gonna be a top player in my arsenal for sure. What about you? What's your favorite soft plastic so far?
Man, I'm actually kind of sad I keep talking about it because I don't want anyone to use it or buy it. But man, the Striking Rage Buzz minnow. I mean, I've said it in a bunch of these were the three that we got to our office.
Yep.
And we're all fighting over the individual three.
Yep.
So I mean, an amazing topwater bait, and I've been a big fan of a bunch of the Rage Tail topwater baits, specifically the shad and the toad. But this one just solved all the problems I had with the other ones, man. It's really awesome.
For sure.
That body shape, it's gonna just make it keel and ride the way it's supposed to every single time. It's got a nice hook channel, big hook slot in the belly, so really increasing the hookup ratio. And then if you've never fished one, man, these Rage Tails with that giant tail on there, it's almost like a weedless whopper plopper or like a weedless buzzbait. They're super loud, and you can fish them through anything, which is super fun. I think no one really throws them because I know I fished them a couple times on the back of someone's boat, and every single time they're like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Nothing." And so I'm super stoked about that new Rage Tail, the Rage Tail Buzz minnow.
For sure.
And,
What do you want to jump into next?
So we're going to talk about. Let's go into best minnow. All right. Well, this is a minnow show.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been the year of forward-facing sonar for sure.
Absolute minnow show. So tons and tons of them this year, and everything's geared around forward-facing sonar. And some of the other categories kind of suffered. There wasn't like a ton of new like crankbaits and swim baits and stuff that maybe some of us bass nerds wanted to see. But for the new minnows, if you had to pick one that was your favorite, which one are you picking?
I kind of went with the Z-Man Graph Shads. This is one that I saw kind of come on the scene early and was super stoked about it. It comes in a pack of two, one jig head, two baits there. One thing that I want to call out about this is just also, I mean, the profile looks absolutely fantastic. A really cool feature here that I hope the camper can pick up on is it's actually a line through design. So your line goes through that top of the head and you tie on there. So that's just going to keep the bait perfectly horizontal and hopefully just catch some pigs, man.
And I was just gonna mention too, we filmed in-depth interviews on all this stuff.
Absolutely.
With a bunch of the guys from Z-Man, every single brand. And I know when I filmed with Glenn on this one, he had it in the tank and was jigging it and showing some of the action of it. So we got tons of footage on all this stuff if you guys want more in-depth coverage. But my pick for the show is the Yamamoto Shad Shape Swimmer. Now, I'm a huge Yamamoto fan. Obviously, I don't know anyone who's not a Yamamoto fan.
Anyone that catches fish is a Yamamoto fan. So.
Yeah, so the Yamamoto Shad Shape worm has been around forever, and now they got it in a little swimmer, which is awesome. And they got it in some of my favorite colors, natural shad. How do you not like natural shad? And I mean, there's a bunch of, some things I've used from Yamamoto for years, like the Swim Cinco for sneaky little baits, and no one else uses those, but I'm super stoked to
You're just giving away all the secrets today,
I'm
man.
giving away it all, but I'm stoked that there's something else in the Yamamoto lineup in kind of the swimming category.
For sure.
And to get them in the Yamamoto colors, and if they ever discontinue natural shad, I will buy them all before everyone else.
You should have seen him over at the Yamamoto booth. We looked at 14 different colors, and he kept on being like, where's the natural shad? I need the natural shad. He's freaking out about it.
I need this size, and I need that color. So that's the one for me.
Awesome.
Best minnow.
For sure.
Should we go into, since they threw the reel on the table for us, sneakily, should we talk about our favorite reels?
We definitely can talk about the favorite reels. This is something I'm pumped about. So,
well, let's go ahead.
Let's go into it, man. I'm a Shimano guy. I'm a Vanford guy. I'm a spotted bass guy. So I love my spinning reels. This is the original Vanford has been a part of my arsenal for years. They really stepped it up, man. I mean, it's not totally different than the Vanford, so it's still the original design and a lot of the same, guts on the inside that you guys are familiar with. But what they've done is trickled down a lot of technology. I could go step by step, but like Jake was saying, we've got a huge interview. Mainly, I just want to call out a few things. The lightness of this reel, it's the same weight, but they've evenly distributed the weight, so it feels a lot better. The smoothness on it there, and then what I really like is the start, the zero inertia needed to kind of get the handle turn. You can start and stop whenever needed. That's the new Shimano Vanford for 2024 ICAST. I'm definitely going to be picking a few of these guys up.
Yeah.
What about you with that? What you got in your hand,
You've
man?
been waiting for that. I mean, you're like, I've looked at the picture 50 times since
it gets me
when we found out about it.
Gets me excited.
I went with the baits reel. I mean, I like both ends of the spectrum. I like 4-pound test and hand pour worms, but I also like throwing 10, 12-inch swim baits and 25 on 8-foot extra
sure.
heavy rods. So Baits has got a new GOAT swim bait reel. So the swim bait 200 reel, it's a deep spool, so you can put a ton of line on there. So it's gonna be good for like that 17, 20, 22 pound line that if you want to load up on it. But dude, these things are built like an absolute tank. Mm-hmm. So I think more and more people are finding out about Baits. And if you check the Baits reels out, we did an interview with them, and they have the blocks of aluminum that these reels start out with. So a complete solid block of, it's like T6061 bar stock aluminum, I think is the term.
I could not remember that. I don't know how you did.
Dude, they machine these things out of a straight block, and it is a rock solid reel. You're never gonna be able to beat this thing up. I mean, you might scratch the outside, but that's about all you're gonna be able to do to this thing. And I love the handle on it. So even some big swim bait reels out on the market, they still put a tiny little handle on there, dude.
Yeah.
You want that giant handle and those big knobs. And this is a fully machined aluminum. I think it's 120 millimeters. So this thing's got tons of power. And they have a drag system in here. I think it's like a combination of like stainless and titanium.
Reps.
And when you crank it down, when you get to those last couple clicks and it tightens up, you're like, whoa, it feels like it has tremendous more power than like your standard carbon drag.
Kevin, I was talking to him yesterday. He actually mentioned something about the drag power, saying that they actually don't even want to go to their full rating with what the drag is, because some people would just not believe it with being the 25, and it's probably like a 30 or 35 pound drag.
Yeah, I don't know what the drag power is, but it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's what you need when you're throwing big line and you're trying to catch big fish and you're trying to horse them to the boat. But really cool reel, and flat black, looks super cool. And they make them in right and left, so I can actually fish one. So I'm super stoked about it.
Man.
Lefties. Yeah, lefties. So let's talk about what do we got best up next. Oh, let's do swim baits.
For sure. This is one I'm pumped.
So kind of our favorite swim baits of the show, and maybe my pick. I'm a little biased.
A little bit.
But there was not a lot of swim baits this year.
No, for sure.
Not a lot of crazy swim baits. And this one came out with Savage Gear. This is actually a tackle warehouse project. So I'm a little, stoked about this one.
Absolutely, yeah.
But man, this is just something that like Mads has worked on for a while, and it just entering that soft bait, that soft glide bait category which is really cool. I'm glad to see more of these coming out on the market, but man, I love the profile of this one and all the colors and having a line through design. So you're not stuck with a harness. So when fish get hooked, the fish are gonna get hooked, and the bait's gonna slide up the line. But what sells me is, a few months ago, Mads just sent us a video of the swimming action.
Yeah.
And we saw it, and I was immediately sold. It does everything you want it to do. It swims super fluidly on a slow retrieve. You can burn it, and it doesn't blow out and roll. You can chop it, and it chops side to side, so you can do just about anything with it. But man, I'm super stoked to try this one out. And I love the size and the profile of it, and I think it's going to be a big hit.
For sure, for sure. I love the style of that. Mads, super ingenuitive guy. He really comes out with great designs, and I'm definitely going to be picking some of those up. As well as that, I'm definitely going to be getting some of my pick, which was the Strike King final copy. Man, I just want to talk about a few things about this.
Let's first. There's been a lot of these baits come out on the market.
For sure, yeah.
And Strike King said, look, we want to make one.
Yeah.
Everyone's got one, and we want to make one.
For sure.
But there's some points on this one that that I didn't think about that maybe some of the other baits on the market don't do. And or it's not, just addresses a few of the problems that you've had with
absolutely. Yeah, like he was saying, that internal harness, belly treble hook, whatever kind of style bait made popular by the mag draft. Really, this kind of addresses a lot of issues and maybe some things that I hadn't seen on a lot of those baits. That's one of those. This is one of the style baits that I throw a lot of. And so this is one that, the internal harness is a little bit heavier. It's built a little bit more solid, I think. And so what you're actually able to do with this bait is just the way that the internal harness is, the way the plastic is shaped. I've noticed you can really burn that bait and not have any rollover or any burnout on it.
So you're able to fish a little faster.
Able to fish it way faster without it doing anything
or without
crazy.
Modifying it
For sure.
and putting nail weights in it and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I know there was a size that you're stoked about.
Size that I'm stoked about, the 4.75. Again, the smaller sizes in that style swim bait I haven't really seen a lot of. So the 4.75 is one that I'm super excited to throw, a little bite-sized profile.
Well, I'm sure being on Lanier, that's one that you've probably wanted for a while.
100%. Yeah, I've modified, other style baits to kind of do this, and it's awesome to get one ready to fish out of the package now. So.
All right, and now we're going to talk about, let's do a couple hard baits. And Walker actually stole my first pick.
That's because I know how to catch fish.
Yeah, okay. So, we're both big fans of this one, but I'm big fans of this crankbait too. So let's talk about this new topwater.
For sure. This is the Teckle/Kicker, and there was a company that made something very similar to this a long time ago.
Well,
actually,
Hideki
made it for another company.
It was through another company.
And so, that company discontinued. He decided to re-release the /Kicker under the Teckle brand. And actually, the way he designed it, I was talking to him yesterday, was for his personal use while fishing an FLW MLF event on Lanier, my home lake, for his personal use. And so, that's the lake I live on. This is going to be an awesome, awesome bait. It really, I don't know how. It just walks so well. It splashes a lot of water around, and it just seems like it cast a mile with that profile there. The weight transfer kind of the little two balls back there, just able to fling that thing out there. Caught a lot of fish on the Teckle products, and that's going to be no exception.
I'm stoked it came back, but one of the people that's also sad because I have one of the original ones in my topwater box.
For sure.
And it is. I know a couple things. I think it's definitely loud.
Yes.
And it spits and splashes water, and it's one of the easiest walking baits I've ever thrown. And
definitely.
Hideki always makes some super, super cool stuff with Teckle, and we're stoked to see that one back. But my favorite hard bait of the show, it's kind of unassuming, but a new crankbait from Rapala. This is actually an extension of the OG line of crankbaits.
Yep.
So the Otts Garage, the OG, this is the big Rocco. Now, this is the size that I wanted when the Rocco came out.
For sure.
So the bigger size, just a little bit bigger. I think it weighs 5/8 of an ounce. So a little bit bigger, a little heavier. And man, I'm just a huge fan of all the Ott Defoe crankbaits. If you have anyone designing a lure, it's like, I want someone who's spent their whole life carving baits in their garage. That's the guy I want designing crankbaits. So this one is made to have that super wide wobble, but man, the circuit board bill on there. But it's just cool that you're gonna get, a balsa style square bill, and I think it's $14.99. And if you know anything about something like the custom-made balsa crankbaits, a lot of them run 20, 25,
They can get up there in price for
30
sure.
bucks, dude. They're expensive. And this one comes with those VMC hybrid hooks on there, which are actually really, really good hooks. So, I mean, out of the box, I mean, you're almost getting a custom style crankbait, bunch of great Rapala colors at a great price. I mean, those balsa cranks, dude, it takes a little bit more to manufacture them, but man, I think this thing's gonna be great in the spring. I mean, super buoyant, bounces off cover really well. I'm just super excited to try this crankbait out, actually.
Awesome. Yeah.
So this is our one
killer.
sample, and that one is Will Go Home with Me. And let's talk about some terminal pieces here.
Let's do it, man.
So we wanted to check out, best little terminal piece we saw, because if you're a real tackle dork, you like terminal.
For sure.
Swivels, split rings,
all
of it. We like it all.
The little things that I can organize late at night, so.
Yeah, exactly, all that. So what was your favorite piece of terminal from the show?
The first gen scope jaw. It's kind of a build off on their jaw. Jaw jocker, jaw knocker, I forget the
jaw dropper.
Jaw dropper, that's what it was. The jaw dropper, they put a blade on there, and the jaw dropper, what's really unique about it is it's got that kind of cupped lip built into the lead head there, which I'm a big fan of. It's something that kind of not a lot of guys have picked up on yet, but what you can do with that is it really adds an erratic action to your bait. If you're doing that hover strolling, mid strolling, whatever it is, or even kind of letting it near the bottom, when you shake your rod tip in that same motion that you would in that, it allows the bait to really hunt and be really erratic. It just kind of rolls, does a lot of different things, a lot of different jumps, unpredictable. And what they've done now is kind of made it targeted for the live scope, because it's got that blade. You can throw that right in a school of fish, right on top of a brush pile, right over a point, right over a hump, whatever, and that added blade is going to be added attraction with that same erratic action of the jaw dropper for the new first gen scope jaw.
And you were telling me earlier, but I'm sure you don't want people to know.
I knew he was going to do this.
Oh yeah, Walker, big fan of the jaw dropper jig head, and I know there's a couple guys in our office right over there that wouldn't want us to say nothing, but
listen,
they're big fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Hot secrets.
But it catches so many fish that I'm not necessarily worried about people catching on, because I think it's going to produce no matter how many people know about it.
Yep, exactly. And this one, well, this just came out, so no one's used it yet. So this one is no secret to anyone, unless there's some advanced samples in the office I don't know about. So this one is that BKK Permalock hook. And I mean, when we got the original slides for ICAST, when I saw that thing, I saw it and I knew immediately what it was going to do, and I didn't need to read anything more about it.
Yeah, no, it's killer.
This Permalock hook, so it's kind of built like a screw lock swimbait hook, but it's not as wide. It's not a giant gap. It's kind of like a medium gap hook, but that angle on it is really nasty. So when you hook fish, they are going to stay pegged. But the most important thing on that, it's got that tungsten weight. So there's a tungsten weight on there with a couple pieces of fluorocarbon that are going to lock your bait into place. But man, what a phenomenal solution for fishing weightless flukes, Cincos, you can do there's creature baits, small little swim baits that you don't need like a giant beast hook. So something just a little bit different that it's going to solve a lot of the problems. I don't know how many times I fished a soft plastic jerkbait. You're trying to fish it weightless and they're too light, and you try to snap them and move them quickly, and they just come right up and blow out. And I'm trying to keep it down around some cover. Yeah. Especially if you're fishing a little bit deeper water. And that thing is going to be awesome to get baits down and keep them in the water and be able to fish them a little bit faster and keep them in that strike zone where you want them. You're not going to snap them and shoot up to the surface. You have to sit there and wait to sink it back down to where you want them. And I just think that's going to be a great solution for a lot of applications.
No, I totally agree. I was telling you, I mean, even trying to get the wire and wrap around your hook shank, that just kind of solves all the problems.
Yeah, and that weight being in the body, it's not going to nosedive it, so it's still going to have like a natural fall. I think that's probably like I've seen a lot of hooks over the years. Yeah. And that's definitely the coolest setup I've seen in a long, long time.
All right.
I think all we got now is accessories. But we got to go grab one off the table before someone yells at us.
Absolutely. So you want to run and do that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and run. I'll start here. So my favorite accessory of the show is this Seaguar bulk line management bag. And, this is one we got to see early as well. So it's a line management bag for your bulk spools. So you open it up and you put your bulk spools in there. nice span of whiting right there. Well, showing the features. Yeah. And then you can also run the line through these ports and spool right out of it. If you've ever been on the road and you're trying to spool and You don't have a child to hold the screwdriver for you and hold the spool line and keep it straight. That is always a pain. I don't know how many times I've tried to, like, what am I gonna do? I'm trying to like put a spool line in like a trash bag or something like that and spool.
Bucket of water, yeah.
Bucket of water, anything. This is just an awesome solution to keep with you, keep all that line protected. I mean, 1,000-yard spool of fluorocarbon is not cheap. And it's something you don't want to, you don't want to damage it. Absolutely. And have it rolling around the ground and nick stuff up. But, also kind of doubles down. Like you can use this, you can put some reels in here, a couple spools of line, holds bolt spools, but it's got the ports. So you can put like 3 or 4 filler spools in there as well. Yeah. But man, such a great little bag. And I think just something super convenient. If you do a lot of traveling, especially maybe like a co-angler, just keeping everything nice and organized. But man, I think this is a great solution and something that we've needed to have for
absolutely
quite a long time. Got a little accessory bag on the outside, put your pliers and like your connection knot tools, line, super glue and knot pullers and all that stuff. But man, just a great accessory there from Seaguar. And then what do you got? And everyone was pumped about this thing. This one actually won Best of Show.
Yeah,
they're getting double down on the awards here.
Which, as they should. I mean, I think it's an awesome box.
Yeah, pull this thing up.
This is the BKK OCD fully loaded tackle storage system, man. This is something I'm pumped about. I was kind of going back and forth, like, man, what do I think is the coolest tackle storage system? And then when I saw this in person, I was like, oh, dude, 100%, no-brainer about what I'm going to pick for that. And it's really cool. It comes with all this, the fully loaded, comes with all of the hooks in it, comes with all the little accessories. Yeah,
it's a box it's got all the hooks you need in it for like everything. Pretty much any technique. It's got like little wide gaps. I believe it's got drop shot hooks in there, permalocked. Yeah, little drop shot ones right there.
Trebles,
what a genius idea. And if you've never used a BKK hook to begin with, you're missing out. BKK makes some of the best hooks out there on the market, and that's all I use for tuna fishing.
Yeah.
I've bought all kinds of BKK hooks and tied my own assist hooks, and they are rock solid, and you just can't say enough good things about a BKK hook, and I think more people need to get on it. But man, if you're like, all right, what hooks do I need to get? Do I need to get 3/0 and 4/0 and I need to get all this? Dude, this is a one-stop shop solution to like fully load yourself up.
For sure.
And get every category of hooks and in all the different sizes. So, I mean, what a genius idea. I'm surprised no one else has done this in the past, but man, just a phenomenal product. That I think a lot of people are going to be stoked about.
For sure. One thing I did want to call out about the BKK OCD tackle storage is when you buy any BKK hooks in the Spear Point series, they're going to come in these little boxes here, which are designed to fit in there. You can buy the empty box, you can buy the boxes, or you can go ahead and just buy the fully loaded, which I recommend.
I forgot that was the option. So you can buy it empty. You can buy little cases. So you can get one that's I think you can get one that's only about half full as well.
Yeah.
So you can get like the starter kit that's only about half full. It's only got a few sizes of each. But easy, they're giving you the option. So if you want to get one, outfit it yourself. If you want to get like half full and then outfit it with the ones that you want. But just all around, I think all those are up for pre-order right now at tacklewarehouse.com.
For sure.
So that's going to wrap up kind of our favorite picks of the show. But the last thing we're going to do, we're actually going to go out on the show floor. We're going to go look at a couple of the craziest things that we saw at the show. So stay tuned. All right. So craziest thing I saw at the show, new deep diving ledge crankbait for bass fishing. I'm just kidding. So we're not bringing this one into TW, but this is the wildest thing I've ever seen. So this is a troll lure from Salta Lures. I'm here with George, and he's telling me this thing runs 140 feet when you troll it. So, I mean, and you got some cool stuff going on with this thing, right?
Yep.
So tell us about this bait. I mean, how much drag does this pull?
Yeah, so at 10.7 knots, it pulls 30 pounds.
30 pounds of drag.
So what this is essentially is we mated a planner with a lure body. This is the world's biggest lipped plug.
Yep.
The world's biggest plug made of polycarbonate. This is Lexan, one of the strongest materials ever invented by mankind. You have it in combat jet canopies, you have it in airplane windows. So, and that's needed because we need a stiff, very plain.
So with 30 pounds of drag,
lip,
you need
you need a stiff lip.
Yeah.
So what it does, you have 2 toes in the forward. If you go on the rearmost toe, you go planner mode. you go really deep.
Yeah.
So if you start at 2 knots, which we do when we test these, we put the stand-up rod in our rod belt.
Yeah.
We pull out 135 or 140 feet of line. And from 2 knots, we go up easy to 11 knots. And what you see is quite amazing. You see that main line, 135-pound ISO line, chasing your stern.
That's crazy.
So until at 11 knots, the line is 15 feet behind your boat.
So you're almost straight up and down.
Straight up and down.
That's crazy. And so
So-
you're getting 100. I've never seen a plug that goes over 100 feet deep.
Yeah, and it goes deeper still.
Yeah, and you said up to 140.
And can go maybe deeper because when we pull this at 11 knots, we feel that we can give it more line.
Yeah.
You faster you troll this lure, the deeper it dives.
That's crazy.
That's the planner mode.
And then you showed me this thing.
Yeah.
So they got this little thing that tracks it, and so you can track it on this app, and you can watch what the bait is doing and how deep you're running, and you can track it throughout the whole day, so you can find out where you're getting bites, what depth zone you're getting bites at. Man, one of the coolest things I've seen at the whole ICAST show. Thanks for taking the time to give us the rundown on this stuff and showing us something totally crazy. But don't be looking for this thing for pre-order. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, wrapping up the Tackle Warehouse Staff Picks Best of Show. We're still showing you some of the craziest stuff that we've seen at the show. Me and Jake were walking around. Dude, this is from a company called Malash Lures. I followed them on Instagram for a long time, and man, this is just some of the craziest, most detailed, biggest, insane lures I've seen in my entire life. This one here, he said, is a whitefish. It's just built out of a crazy wood block that he hand carves, hand paints. All the components there are added there. Polycarbonate fins, glass eyes, these rotating hook hangers here.
Yeah, but more importantly, he won a bait making competition with that thing in Sweden.
Yeah, and world champion.
Yeah, world champion bait maker. So these things are absolutely insane looking. So. I don't know if you can get any more detailed than that, but like that peacock bass and this giant topwater.
Well, I'll tell you this, you can get more detailed. He actually, even on the hinges here, hand painted some of the guts of the fish on the inside.
Inside of the joint.
Inside of the joint.
You can see inside the fish. Man, what crazy stuff. So just something else that, people don't normally get to see at ICAST. And we just walked around and we saw this booth and we're like, what is that? And so we wanted to come check it out. But that's going to wrap up our 2024 ICAST coverage and the What's New at Tackle Warehouse staff picks, Jake and Walker's picks. And these are absolutely the craziest things I've ever seen for bass fishing.
Coolest things of all time.
Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to head over on the website and check out all the coverage that we did and check out all the products that are up for pre-order.